What is going on, guys? Thank you so much for clicking on the video and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to walk you through how to make and write your own meal plan, or basically how to efficiently hit your macros. So I think it is so important to have a meal plan at your convenience to help you out through every single day, how to hit your macros. It's so important to have something for reference. So for all my clients, whenever I do give them macros, I always give them a meal plan to supplement it so they kind of have an understanding of where to eat your carbs, where to eat your protein, how many meals, etc., etc. Now there are so many things that go into one person's meal plan, so many factors, and that's what truly makes a meal plan customized. That's why there's no such thing as a cookie cutter plan, there's no such thing as a plan that fits everybody, and that's why it's so important to make sure that you have one that fits you. Now, little disclaimer, I am not a registered dietitian. You can take what I say with a grain of salt, you can implement it however you may or may not choose, but little disclaimer, this is how I personally, Alexa Stanco, go about writing a meal plan for myself, for my clients, whoever. You might go about it a different way, you might have seen somebody else do it differently, but this is how I specifically do it. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what I do, what I think when I write a meal plan, because I am making a lot of diet changes right now for myself. I do want to write myself a new meal plan, so I figured I would take you along. This is exactly what I do when I make a meal plan, so let's get started. So, step number 1. You need to have macronutrients to base the meal plan off of. So, macronutrients, basically your carbs, your fat, your protein, your calories, those are customized. So, I'm not going to go over how to customize your macros in this video. I do offer custom macronutrient consultations if you would want one, or there's online calculators that you can use. However, I'm going to start with my macros. You need macros to base your meal plan off of. It's basically trying to get to your destination without plugging it into your phone without a GPS. We'd all be lost. So that's basically going to structure exactly what your meals are going to consist of, how many calories, XYZ. So my current macros, I set at 130 protein, about 140 carb, and about 70 fat. Now these are my custom macros. They will not work for you, and they will not work for the next person. These are for me. Next step, you need to ask yourself, how many times do you eat per day? So I personally recommend that you eat at least 4 times per day. So there's a lot of research coming out now saying that it's all about just the total amount of protein you eat per day, total amount of calories, etc., etc. However, protein, fiber, and insulin levels are so important when it comes to not only just your fitness goals, but health. For example, I have to eat 130 grams of protein. If I'm eating once or twice per day, it's going to be damn hard to get in that protein only in those 2 eating times. Not only that, but protein is so taxing on your digestion, it takes time to digest those things. So if I'm having 2 big meals of huge servings of protein, that's going to be super taxing. On top of that, fiber. Everybody should aim for about 25 for females and about 30 for males grams of fiber per day. Now if you're trying to get in all that fiber in like 2 meals, good luck. It's a lot, and it's going to be very bloating, and you're going to feel very full, and it's just going to be uncomfortable making sure that you hit those targets within just a couple of meals. On top of that, insulin is so important. Consistent meals of carbohydrates throughout the day to keep insulin steady. We do not want insulin spikes going up and down throughout the day. This is so important for your adrenals, your hormones, and your overall health. And somebody, especially for me, who does have adrenal dysfunction at the moment, insulin needs to stay still. So that is why it is so important to eat consistently throughout the day. Another thing to consider is if you eat in the eating window, if you intermittent fast. Like I said, there's so many things that go into it. You kind of have to just think about your meal timing. So I personally like to eat 6 meals per day, every about 2.5 to 3 hours. That's just me. I eat right when I wake up, within the first 30 minutes, just because it's beneficial for your adrenals, and I eat within a 12-hour window. So I eat from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now, you don't have to do this. Like I said, I'm just making this meal plan for myself. You just kind of have to figure out when you like to eat If you intermittent fast, I recommend to my clients that they cut off eating about 2 hours before bedtime. So that's something that you might want to consider, just because it is beneficial for when you are sleeping. Digestion is a super taxing process that your body undergoes. So it's so important to focus on your sleep rather than digesting the food that you just ate. So that's step 2. So I'm going to lay out my meals. So meal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1. Now, next thing you want to ask yourself is, based off of those meals, when do you usually work out? So I personally usually work out about 2 in the afternoon, give or take. And that's just a general idea. This is because you want to prioritize your carbs and your protein around your workouts. Between meals 3 and 4, usually I'll work out at about here. That's where carbs and protein are going to be prioritized. From those macros, you want to evenly disperse them throughout the day. So this is what I do. So usually my post-workout meal has very low fat, so that is where I'm going to kind of start. So I'm going to take my fat in grams, 70. So because meal 4 is going to be 0 grams of fat, I'm going to divide 70 by my 5 other meals. So now, because I have 6 meals, this is what I'm doing. If you had 4, you divide it by 3. Well, that's at least what I do. So meal 4 is going to be 0 grams of fat, and then from 70 I'm going to divide that by 5 because there's 5 meals left in the day. So that brings me to about 14 grams of fat, give or take. Before my pre-workout meal, I don't want 14 grams of fat, so I'm going to kind of now, from that 14, disperse it further. So in maybe my first and my last meal, I have more fat and lower the fat right before my pre-workout meal. I did 16 grams of fat for the first meal, 14, 10, 0, 14, 16. Next, let's move on to protein. So same type of deal. It's going to be about 130 divided by 6. So I'm going to do about 20 grams each meal, maybe a couple more grams just around my workout. 20 grams of protein, 20 grams of protein, 25, 25, 20, 20. Getting the idea of it, you just want to spread it out evenly throughout the day. So next we're going to do carb. Prioritize that around your workouts, but you still want to keep it consistent throughout the day. I personally do not believe in not eating carbs at night or anything like that. Again, to control my insulin level, consistent through the day, and the reason you want to prioritize carbs around your workout is because you need that insulin spike post-workout to shuttle those carbohydrates and protein to those muscles. So I'm going to do 140 divided by 6 again. That's about 23 grams, so again, I'm going to prioritize it around my workout. 20 carb, 20 carb, 30 carb, 30 carb, 20 carb, 20 carb. Just taking your overall macros, you're dividing it by the amount of meals, and then you're just prioritizing around your workouts. So now, were this day I not to work out at that time, I would just shift my macros around. They'd still be the same eating frequencies, just change the time that I was working out. So now, based off of these macros, you have to fill it in with food. To now decide what foods you can have, what foods you can't have, allergy restrictions, preferences, dislikes, etc., etc., etc. Now, right now, I am paleo. So, for me, no grains, no dairy, no soy, no sugar, and I need to eliminate my sensitivity. Personally, I'm sensitive to avocados and nuts, and beef kind of disrupts me a little bit, so that's also going to be on the list of no-nos. Every single time I make a meal plan, you have to have this as a reference. So even put aside your favorites so that you know what to include to make sure that you don't feel deprived or anything like that. So I personally love my protein, my PEScience protein. Even though that's not paleo, I'm still including that into my diet. As like I said in my previous paleo video, I'm not staying to the T. So that's something I'm going to write on there. And I love my oats. My fake oats, rather. Made of flax seeds and chia seeds. Okay, so then from there, all you do, you just make meals based off of those macros. So basically for breakfast, I love to have my fake oats. So I usually make that out of flax seeds, almond meal, protein powder, blueberries. So I know the ingredients of the meals, but I'll adjust the amounts based off of the macros. So I'll do flax, almond meal, protein powder. My next meal, I know I love to have this zucchini pumpkin mashup that I share in my story all the time, and it looks like baby food and throw up, but it's so good. But it's so good. So I know I like to have that with an egg, so I'm gonna throw that in. That's gonna be my meal too. Now we're going on to my pre-workout meal. So definitely, like I said, again, you want to prioritize your carbs and your protein. So this is what I'm going to have. I'm going to think, okay, what are my protein sources? What are my carb sources? This is the amount of fat I'm going to do. I think for this meal, I'll probably do salmon, sweet potato, and spinach. And whatever fat I may or may not need left, I'll just add oil. So that's probably like my best thing to do for oils is pure sources rather than getting, like, say, like a fattier meat. Add oils on if you are shy a couple grams. So I'm going to do salmon, potato, spinach. Now, if I don't always have salmon, I'll probably just do like a chicken with some extra oil, just because salmon, again, is a fattier fish, so you can compensate with a leaner meat and some oil. This workout, I think I will do a shake. We'll do that. Protein shake, and then a piece of fruit, so maybe I'll do like an orange or berries. Again, this meal is no fat, so you gotta think, okay, what's lean? Meal, let's see, got some carbs to use. I tried camel. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I bought camel to eat. It's good. It's actually really good. It tastes like venison. So I'm gonna have that at that meal. It's super lean. It's like almost as lean as egg whites. There's like a half a gram of fat in a serving, which is like crazy. But this meal, I'm gonna have some camel. Probably some more sweet potatoes. I'll do some broccoli, and I'll do some walnut oil. My last meal is higher in fat. So for this one, I think I'm gonna do some spaghetti squash. I'll do some more chicken. I'll probably add on some oil, maybe some spinach. So now that I have created the idea of the meals that I want, I will then calculate the grams of each thing that I want to include. Basically, I think what's cool is, you know, you can make your meal plan whatever you want it to be. You just essentially just adjust the amounts of each thing, and that's it. So it's kind of, if it fits your macros, meal plan, clean eating, whatever. So if I wanted to include cookies into my meal plan, I just have to adjust the amount so that it fits those macros for each meal. You do not have to feel deprived, and you can include whatever you want to. So from all of the things that I included now, what I want for each meal, I have to play around with the portions. So I personally like to input all of it into my PEScience, and that's how I'll adjust everything. So that's what I'm going to do right now, is I'm gonna input all of these foods into my PEScience and basically adjust the macros to make sure it fits the macros for each meal. Basically right on the money. And again, don't go crazy. Just, this is an estimate. So if I'm a couple grams off on carbs for each meal, that's fine. Just focus on the total throughout the day. This is kind of to just help you lay out those meals, keep those insulin levels on track, lay out your protein, lay out your fat. So this is now my meal plan. I filled in everything that I wrote. I have the grams for each. So it's not super complicated, it's just tedious, and it does take a lot of time to make an efficient meal plan, but I think it's more so an investment to make sure that you stick to your goals, you have, you know, meal ideas, you're not falling off track. The fact that now you know how to customize it, you are taking control of the food that's going into your body, you have a choice of what you're including. That is going to conclude the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that it is helpful for you. Definitely hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. It just helps me out, lets me know if you like this content, and helps the channel out. Also, if you would subscribe, I would really appreciate it so you don't miss another video. So thank you so much, guys, and I will see you in the next video.